Monday. It's January 10th, 2021. It's like a quarter to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's almost Cat Scratch's birthday, so, I asked Linda if she would help me out. I wanted to prepare some kind of small whatever for the children at school, just a thing that the North Americans do with one another. I don't always do it. Just this year, they just had 2 birthdays last week where other parents were doing it, so now I feel almost obligated to my son, to nobody else, to show whatever sign of his birthday is important as well. So Linda took me over by Roosevelt Field, which is a Simon property. I don't get to go to often. She drove, and while we were there, she asked if I wanted to go to Macy's to try on a different jacket, which I said, of course, I'd appreciate if we had time. So we went. But now, and this is not in a disrespectful manner, this is just in an observance manner, the prices of the goods seem to, for me, I have no work and no income, no structured settlement, no sponsorship, no access to money whatsoever, except through Lynn and Lou. So, for me, everything at this point would be ridiculously expensive, because I don't have money to buy it, and there's no, rich dad donates to poor dad's daughter in New York, apparently, for my kind. I don't know why, being one of the lost tribe. I guess philosophies don't align with sponsorship. So Lynn takes me to Macy's, and the quality of the material and then the lining of the inside of the pieces in Macy's, which is a name brand store where you go and they have a variety of different clothing types, but all really cheap quality. So, it used to be a higher echelon than, say, a Target, but so we went there, and the jackets were as to be expected. The linings don't hold the cold out, and the quality of the material is not sufficient. It's just like the one that I already have. And so Linda's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. She's like, wool's not warm. And I was like, really? I found that really interesting, because for centuries, throughout world wars, the men were always given really thick, warm wool jackets with some kind of whatever, because I don't know what the inside looks like. So wool is warm, just not in what they're selling in New York at this point. So that happened. So then I said to her, I said, could we go to Dick's maybe? And she's like, no. She's like, because Dick's is North Face brand and $400. And I'm like, what, 400? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I was like, can we at least just go try? So we did. We went over to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I was able to find something called an Alpine with an inner lining of some technology. I don't know what kind. it's a sporting good recreational store, so I haven't tried it outside yet. Tomorrow it's supposed to go down to like 19. I'm supposed to get some Arctic Chill infusion. And when I went to the register, turns out it was on sale from $150. It was only $75, even though it wasn't marked so on the thing. So we didn't even break $100, and I got a better quality jacket. So I was just thankful that she at least walked with me the length of the mall and took me to where I wanted to go rather than what was convenient. So, on the way home though, there's a radio station. I don't get dial radio. There's apparently someone by the name of Rush Limbaugh that built some big radio station, 710, on the AM, which again, I don't listen to AM. So I don't know the history of the AM stations, but they said, whoever was there, it's two gentlemen, two voices, they said Rush Limbaugh built their whatever, and that they are now in that slot. They were commenting on Eric Adams had made a mention, something about white supremacy, and for his safety and security, he's appointing his brother. But these two gentlemen were like, we live in New York City. There's no, like, we don't see signs of this where his security would be, like this message of white supremacy. We don't see it. I don't see it either. I've never seen it, but, again, I don't go looking for a lot of things, but, I've never really seen it. I've heard them use the term and phrase before, but it seems more like a publicity stunt or some campaign to rile up the wrong image for people that are investing in some insecurities program and in inequality, and then just cause more problems. So I thought that that was interesting, the way that they were saying about the Democrats and how he's already in and they don't see necessarily him making good quality decisions for the city necessarily. It almost seems like he's on pace to do something else completely. That's my synopsis of it. But while they were on the radio, what they mentioned, the more important part was that when Rush Limbaugh was on the radio, you had to have a studio. There was better technology equipment in the studio. It was regulated. There was a lot of regulations. But, I mean, again, it ties back to kind of what I was saying the other day with the television, where it used to be the television was channels 2 through 13, the rabbit ears. And it was like the message you received, there was accountability for it at some point. That if you as a citizen got your information wrong, you knew and they could go after whoever was sending the wrong message. Nowadays, like on the radio, they're saying that they can travel and do radio. Like you can pretty much broadcast from anywhere. That's really frightening thought. I mean, how do you keep your domestic people safe from foreign intervention and foreign agenda and foreign competing agendas? I mean, that's really a scary thought. If you can broadcast from anywhere and receive a message from anywhere, and somebody's sending their non-citizens into our area, and then they're able to receive messages from long broadcast of somebody else's agenda that they want pushed wherever their non-citizens landed. I mean, this gets really hairy with how does one keep oneself safe and one's children safe in this big push where there's no boundaries anywhere. And then it's really frightening. Because, I mean, the way that it was explained was there used to be radio, there was a studio, there was sponsor time, and there were hurdles and things you had to do in order to earn that privilege in an industry. But it was, again, there was structure to it. It's like with all this remote learning and remote everything, it just feels like all of the strings and the cables of infrastructure that were there purposely to help keep people safe, even if they didn't think at the time it was to keep them safe. It just feels like that somebody's pulled all the ribbons off and out, and it's just scary. It is just really frightening at this point, from sitting in New York by myself with light outside at that UV level, because that's the words that the North Americans use to describe the sunlight and the damaging effects of sunlight. And then knowing inside there's some form of electricity and some form of Bluetooth technology and some form of voice activated technology and all this other stuff that's been introduced into the environment. But there's some form of arcing electrical, non-visible, situational stuff going on in my home and residential area. And I don't even know who to reach out to for help, because there's like really big scary things that they're arguing over. It's really revolting to be a part of. But I wouldn't even know where to begin, because in some places the politicians have to have a PhD or a doctorate. But for me, I consider them the quiet echelon I don't even have access to. I wouldn't know how to find a PhD around here. But when I mention doctor, it's the prescription pad morons that memorized something out of a book in general practice. And then you've got specialty, which are the clinicians that you need if there's a problem. But what they're selling, what they're pushing, what they're politicizing as big groups with now some insurance and drug company backing as like their cheerleaders. I mean, again, it gets so convoluted in like who's even trustworthy in society anymore? It's like they've all polluted and ruined their own reputations by ripping everything apart. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole Cataruza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies, Broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.